Have you ever felt like people around you are wearing masks, saying all the right things, but something doesn't add up? Beneath their words and gestures lies a deeper truth, one they might not even realize they're revealing. The ability to understand these unspoken cues is more than a skill. It's a game changer. Imagine knowing how someone truly feels or what they're thinking without them saying a word. While it might seem like a superpower, it's something anyone can develop. In this video, we'll uncover practical ways to decode hidden emotions, read body language, and connect on a deeper level, not through manipulation, but by fostering empathy and clarity. These tools aren't just for professionals, they're for anyone navigating relationships or conversations in daily life. Subscribe now, and let's explore the subtle art of human connection together. Third, power of tell me more. Have you ever been in a heated conversation or debate and realized neither side was truly listening? Often we're so focused on making our point that we miss a golden opportunity to connect and understand the other person. That's where the simple yet transformative phrase, tell me more, comes into play. At first glance, it may not seem like much, just 3 small words. But these words hold the power to turn a tense argument into a meaningful exchange. Why? Because they signal something rare in today's world, a willingness to listen without judgment. When you ask someone to share more, you're giving them the space to lower their defenses, feel seen, and open up about what truly matters to them. Years ago, I stumbled upon this technique almost by accident. It all began with an unlikely debate about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I was ready to fire off my counterpoints, armed with what I thought were bulletproof arguments. But instead, I paused, smiled, and said, "Tell me more." What happened next took me by surprise. My friends started sharing not just their opinion on pizza, but also childhood memories of family dinners, favorite dishes, and even a funny story about why they'd always disliked pineapple. What began as a trivial debate turned into a heartfelt exploration of their past. The conversation shifted from being combative to deeply personal, all because of 3 simple words. Here's the beauty of tell me more. It's not about winning an argument or extracting information. It's about creating a safe environment where people feel valued and heard. When you ask someone to elaborate, you're not just acknowledging their perspective, you're inviting them to share their deeper motivations, fears, or even insecurities. Imagine you're in a work meeting, negotiating with a colleague who seems overly resistant to your proposal. Instead of pushing back, you simply say, "Tell me more about your concerns." Suddenly, the tone changes. They may reveal frustrations with past projects, concerns about timing, or even external pressures you hadn't considered. By listening, you shift from adversary to ally, fostering trust and understanding. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, few take the time to truly listen. That's why tell me more is so powerful. It forces you to step outside your own ego and genuinely focus on the other person. This aligns beautifully with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes empathy without attachment. As Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By practicing this technique, you cultivate not only a deeper understanding of others, but also the humility to observe without judgment. It's not about manipulation or control, it's about seeing people as they truly are and appreciating their unique perspectives. The beauty of this technique is its versatility. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or even casual conversations, tell me more works wonders. In one negotiation, I decided to use this approach instead of pushing my agenda. The result? The other party ended up sharing their entire strategy, revealing key concerns and motivations. They weren't trying to hide anything, they simply felt comfortable enough to share. This not only gave me the upper hand, but also strengthened the foundation for future collaboration. On a more personal level, this technique has helped me connect with friends and loved ones on a much deeper level. By simply asking them to share more, I've learned about their dreams, fears, and even the stories that shaped who they are today. The next time you're in a conversation, whether it's a debate, a negotiation, or just catching up with a friend, pause and use these 3 words. Tell me more. Watch how the dynamic changes. You'll find that people are eager to open up when they feel genuinely heard. And here's the most profound takeaway. This isn't just a technique for understanding others, it's a journey of self-discovery. By seeing others clearly, You also gain insight into your own biases, judgments, and capacity for connection. So what are you waiting for? Start today. Engage with curiosity, listen with empathy, and let "tell me more" transform your relationships and conversations. 2. How true character is revealed in everyday interactions. We all like to think we know people well, whether it's a friend, a co-worker, or even a romantic partner. But how can you truly gauge someone's character? The answer might surprise you. It's not about how they treat you, but how they treat people they believe have less power or influence. Take a moment to reflect. Think about how someone you know interacts with a waiter at a restaurant, a cashier at a grocery store, or even a colleague in a junior role. These seemingly trivial moments often reveal the deeper truths about their values, empathy, and integrity. I'll never forget a lunch outing that completely shifted my perspective. A colleague of mine was the epitome of charm in meetings, always polite, articulate, and considerate. But when we sat down at a restaurant, their demeanor changed in an instant. The same person who had been so warm and engaging moments earlier now barked orders at the waiter, spoke with condescension, and barely acknowledged the server as a fellow human being. It was shocking. What had seemed like genuine kindness was, in fact, situational politeness, used strategically when it benefited them. This wasn't just an isolated incident. Over time, I noticed a pattern. Their charm only extended to people who could offer something in return. It was a harsh realization, but it taught me a valuable lesson. True character emerges when there's nothing to gain. When someone thinks they're not being judged, their behavior becomes a window into their soul. If they're dismissive, rude, or even cruel to people they deem less important, it's a clear indication of their underlying arrogance or insecurity. On the flip side, someone who consistently shows respect and kindness, regardless of the other person's position, demonstrates a rare sense of self-assuredness. And these are the people worth trusting and building relationships with. Stoic philosophy offers profound insights here. As Marcus Aurelius noted, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. How we treat others, especially those who cannot do anything for us, is a reflection of how we see ourselves. True strength lies in maintaining dignity and respect in all interactions, not just when it's easy or socially expected. The Stoics teach us to observe without judgment, allowing us to recognize patterns of behavior and discern who truly aligns with our values. Over the years, I've started using this principle as a silent test in my relationships, whether professional or personal. How does someone treat the janitor, the bus driver, or the stranger who holds the door open for them? When someone thanks the cleaning staff for their work, treats a barista with respect, or shows patience in a stressful situation, it's a sign of genuine decency. On the other hand, unnecessary harshness or dismissiveness is a red flag that can't be ignored. Here's the deeper truth. The way we treat others mirrors how we view ourselves. People who respect everyone, regardless of status, are often secure in their own worth. They don't need to diminish others to feel important. Conversely, those who belittle or mistreat others often project their own insecurities. This principle isn't just about judging others. It's also a reminder to examine our own behavior. Are we treating everyone with the kindness and respect we'd hope to receive? If not, it's an opportunity to grow and align our actions with our values. The next time you observe someone's behavior in a seemingly insignificant interaction, take note. Are they patient and understanding, or dismissive and condescending? And more importantly, reflect on your own actions. As you go about your day, challenge yourself to show respect and gratitude to everyone you encounter, from the highest-ranking executive to the person cleaning the office floors. In doing so, you'll not only strengthen your relationships, but also cultivate a deeper sense of integrity and self-worth. Let's start small. The next time someone serves you, offers help, or even crosses your path, take a moment to say thank you. It's a simple gesture, but it carries the weight of true character. 3. The quiet power of observing how others treat those with less power. If you truly want to understand someone's character, the key isn't in how they treat you, it's in how they interact with those they see as beneath them. While it's easy to focus on how someone makes you feel, their treatment of those who can offer them nothing in return often reveals their truest self. Take a moment to think about everyday scenarios. Imagine someone at a restaurant snapping impatiently at the waiter, or a manager dismissing an intern's contributions. These seemingly small actions can speak volumes about their empathy, patience, and respect, or lack thereof. I once worked with someone who, on the surface, appeared to be the epitome of kindness and professionalism. They were charming in meetings, quick to compliment others, and always seemed approachable. But during a lunch outing, a very different side of them came out. As soon as we sat down, they began barking orders at the server, treating them as though they were invisible, or worse, an inconvenience. The warmth and charm they showed in meetings had vanished, replaced by arrogance and entitlement. It was shocking, but it also made something very clear. Their politeness wasn't genuine, it was calculated. They were kind when it benefited them and dismissive when they thought it wouldn't matter. That moment taught me a valuable lesson. A person's character isn't defined by how they act when they're being watched. It's how they behave when they think no one important is paying attention. When people feel no pressure to impress, their true nature shines through. If someone is condescending or rude to a waiter, a cashier, or a junior colleague, it's a clear sign of deeper issues. That same arrogance will likely show up in other areas of their life, whether in personal relationships or professional dynamics. On the other hand, those who consistently treat everyone with respect, regardless of status, demonstrate a strength of character that's rooted in confidence and humility. These are the people worth surrounding yourself with, as their kindness stems from who they are, not what they hope to gain. Stoicism offers a profound lens through which to view this behavior. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, our actions should reflect our values, not the actions of others. Observing how someone treats those with less power isn't about judgment, it's about gaining clarity. Are their actions consistent with the values they claim to uphold? If not, it may be time to reevaluate their role in your life. This principle isn't just about evaluating others, it's also a mirror for ourselves. How do we treat the people we interact with daily, especially those who might not seem immediately significant? Are we patient with the barista who gets our order wrong? Do we acknowledge the janitor working late to keep our offices clean? The way we treat others often reflects how we see ourselves. Those who are secure in their worth have no need to belittle others. Conversely, those who lash out or act dismissively often project their own insecurities onto others. The next time you observe someone in a position of perceived powerlessness, pay attention. How do others treat them? More importantly, how do you treat them? These small moments, often overlooked, reveal more about character than grand gestures ever could. By striving to show respect and kindness in every interaction, we not only align our actions with our values, but also set an example for those around us. Start small. Thank the cashier, acknowledge the delivery driver, and treat every person as though their contribution matters. Because it does. In the end, true character is measured not by how we treat those who can help us, but by how we treat those who cannot. The hidden power of silence. In a world filled with noise, silence is often misunderstood. Many of us view it as uncomfortable, even awkward, something to avoid at all costs. But here's the truth. Silence isn't just a pause in conversation. It's a powerful tool for understanding people on a deeper level. When used intentionally, silence opens up space for others to reveal their thoughts, emotions, and often the truths they didn't plan to share. Imagine you're in a negotiation. You've just laid out your offer and there's a pause. What do most people do? They rush to fill the void, either by elaborating further, justifying their stance, or even prematurely compromising. But what happens if you simply stay silent? In that moment, the dynamic shifts. The other person feels the need to speak, often divulging their true concerns, motivations, or even doubts. Silence creates an environment where they are compelled to process their thoughts aloud, giving you valuable insights without you saying another word. This isn't limited to negotiations. In personal conversations, silence can be just as revealing. When someone shares something meaningful and pauses, our instinct is often to respond immediately, to comfort, agree, or even change the subject. But by allowing the silence to linger, you send a powerful message. I'm here. I'm listening. What you're saying matters. The wisdom of silence is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In conversations, this translates to mastering the urge to speak prematurely. Restraint allows others the freedom to express themselves fully, unfiltered by interruptions. Silence is not passivity. It's active listening. It's choosing to observe and understand before reacting. In many ways, silence is the ultimate expression of confidence and control. It shows that you're comfortable enough to let the other person take the stage. I once witnessed the power of silence during a difficult conversation with a close friend. They were going through a challenging time and opened up about their struggles. My instinct was to offer advice immediately, but instead, I chose to stay silent. After a brief pause, they continued speaking, sharing details and emotions they hadn't initially planned to. By the end of the conversation, they told me, "Thank you for really listening. I don't think I've ever felt so understood." That moment taught me that sometimes the greatest gift you can offer isn't your words, it's your presence. Mastering the art of silence takes practice, especially in a culture that values constant chatter. Here are some actionable steps to incorporate this skill into your daily life. 1. Pause. Before responding. The next time someone finishes speaking, count to 5 in your head before replying. This brief pause not only gives you time to process their words, but also encourages them to elaborate. 2. Resist the urge to fill the void. In moments of silence, remind yourself that it's okay for the conversation to breathe. Let the other person lead the next step. 3. Observe nonverbal cues. While you're silent, pay attention to their body language, tone, and expressions. Often these subtle signals reveal more than words ever could. Silence isn't just a tool for understanding others, it's a pathway to building trust and strengthening relationships. When you allow someone the space to share without interruption, you're creating a bond rooted in empathy and respect. The next time you find yourself in a conversation, challenge yourself to embrace the silence. Don't rush to fill the gaps. Instead, let them unfold naturally. You'll be surprised at what you discover, not just about others, but about yourself as well. As the Stoics remind us, wisdom often lies not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say. Silence, when used with intention, becomes more than an absence of sound. It becomes a language of understanding. 5. Focus on patterns, not snap judgments. When it comes to understanding people, one of the most common pitfalls is jumping to conclusions based on isolated incidents. It's natural. Our brains are wired to make quick assessments. But the truth is, relying on a single moment to define someone can often lead to misinterpretations. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone looking distracted during a meeting and immediately assumed they were uninterested? While this conclusion might seem reasonable in the moment, it ignores the broader context. Perhaps they were dealing with personal challenges, feeling under the weather, or simply having an off day. To truly understand others, we need to shift our focus from snapshots to patterns. Rather than basing your judgment on one-off behaviors, take a step back and observe the person over time. Do they frequently appear disengaged, or was this an exception? Are they consistently kind and supportive to their peers, or does their behavior vary depending on who they're interacting with? By identifying patterns, you can gain a clearer understanding of their character and motivations. For instance, someone who occasionally snaps under stress might not necessarily be impatient by nature. However, if they're repeatedly short-tempered across various situations, it's likely a reflection of deeper tendencies. This principle is especially important in relationships, whether personal or professional. Jumping to conclusions after a single interaction risks misjudging someone's true nature. On the other hand, spotting consistent patterns helps you approach your decisions with greater clarity and confidence. I once worked on a team with a colleague who, during our first meeting, came across as cold and uninterested. They rarely made eye contact, gave short answers, and seemed eager for the meeting to end. My initial reaction? They're not invested in this project. But as weeks went by, I noticed something different. During brainstorming sessions, they would quietly listen and then contribute thoughtful, well-reasoned ideas. They were also incredibly dependable, meeting deadlines and going the extra mile to ensure the team's success. That first impression, based on a single meeting, couldn't have been further from the truth. This experience taught me an invaluable lesson. People are complex. To understand them, you have to look beyond the surface and observe the patterns that define their behavior over time. The Stoics offer timeless guidance on this topic. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of reading people, this means resisting the urge to let fleeting emotions or assumptions cloud your judgment. Instead of reacting impulsively to what you see in the moment, approach every interaction with objectivity. Ask yourself, what's the broader context? Is this behavior consistent, or is it an outlier? By focusing on what you can observe repeatedly, you're not only practicing Stoic restraint, but also building a more accurate understanding of those around you. If you're looking to refine this skill, here are some actionable steps to help you observe patterns rather than isolated behaviors. 1. Track repeated behaviors. Notice how someone acts across different settings. Are they respectful to subordinates at work, but dismissive at social gatherings? Look for consistency. 2. Consider context. Reflect on external factors that might influence someone's actions. Stress, fatigue, or personal struggles can all impact behavior in the short term. 3. Ask questions. If someone's behavior surprises you, consider asking them about it. This not only provides clarity, but also fosters better communication and understanding. By observing patterns, you not only gain insight into others, but also cultivate patience and empathy. People are rarely defined by a single moment, just as a book cannot be judged by one page. Understanding requires time, attention, and a willingness to see beyond the immediate. The next time you find yourself forming an opinion about someone, pause and consider, am I basing this on a single moment, or have I taken the time to see the full picture? This shift in perspective not only enhances your ability to read others, but also strengthens your relationships and decision-making. In the end, understanding others isn't about being right, it's about being open. Patterns reveal truths, while snap judgments often lead us astray. Take the time to observe, reflect, and connect, and you'll uncover insights that go far deeper than any fleeting impression ever could. 6. Mirroring. Have you ever been in a conversation where everything just seemed to flow? The other person felt comfortable, the dialogue was effortless, and a sense of understanding emerged naturally? Often, this kind of connection isn't accidental. It's the result of subtle alignment, or what psychologists call mirroring. Mirroring is the practice of subtly mimicking someone's tone, gestures, or body language to create a sense of familiarity and trust. But don't misunderstand. This isn't about copying them like a mime. Instead, it's about naturally aligning your energy with theirs to foster comfort and rapport. When done correctly, mirroring sends a subconscious signal. We're alike. I understand you. This simple cue can break down barriers and encourage the other person to open up. For example, imagine you're speaking with someone who leans in slightly and speaks in a calm, measured tone. By leaning in as well and softening your own tone, you create a subtle but powerful sense of alignment. The person feels understood, often without even realizing why. This technique isn't limited to tone or posture. You can mirror someone's choice of words, pace of speech, or even their enthusiasm. When someone is excitedly sharing an idea, reflecting their energy and engaging with similar enthusiasm shows that you're genuinely present and interested. I remember a time when I was working with a new client who seemed hesitant and guarded during our initial meeting. They spoke softly, avoided direct eye contact, and kept their gestures minimal. Instead of trying to counter this with an overly enthusiastic or commanding presence, I adjusted my approach. I mirrored their soft tone and calm demeanor, occasionally nodding to show I was actively listening. Over the course of the meeting, their body language began to relax. By the end, they were speaking more openly and sharing insights I hadn't expected. That experience reinforced the power of mirroring, not as a tool for manipulation, but as a way to create a safe, comfortable space for genuine interaction. It's important to approach mirroring with authenticity. Forced or exaggerated attempts can feel insincere and even manipulative, which can harm the connection rather than strengthen it. The goal is harmony, not control. Here's a crucial distinction. Mirroring is about reflecting, not imitating. If someone crosses their arms, for instance, you don't need to cross yours at the exact same angle. Instead, you might adjust your posture to be slightly more closed, signaling understanding without being overly obvious. Remember, the purpose of mirroring is to make the other person feel seen and comfortable, not to trick them into liking you. From a Stoic perspective, mirroring aligns beautifully with the principle of empathy without attachment. As Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Mirroring allows us to truly listen, not just to words, but to tone, rhythm, and body language. It's about meeting people where they are, rather than forcing them to meet us on our terms. This approach fosters understanding and connection, which are essential for meaningful relationships. If you'd like to incorporate mirroring into your interactions, here are a few practical steps to get started. 1. Start with observation. Before mirroring, pay close attention to the other person's tone, gestures, and body language. What's their energy level? Are they animated or subdued? 2. Subtle adjustments. Match their tone or posture naturally. For instance, if they're sitting back in their chair, you might also relax your posture slightly. 3. Mirror pace and words. If they're speaking slowly and thoughtfully, slow down your own speech. If they use certain phrases repeatedly, consider incorporating similar language. 4. Stay genuine. Ensure that your mirroring feels organic. The connection will only work if it's built on authenticity. In a world where true connection can often feel elusive, mirroring offers a way to bridge divides and foster trust. By aligning yourself with another person's energy, you show that you're not only listening but also deeply engaged. The next time you're in a conversation, try practicing subtle mirroring. Pay attention to the shifts in the other person's comfort and openness. You might be surprised at how quickly the dynamic changes. Ultimately, mirroring isn't just a technique for understanding others, it's a practice of showing respect and empathy. When done authentically, it can transform even the most guarded interactions into meaningful exchanges. Seven. The art of knowing. When to step back in our quest to understand others, it's easy to fall into the trap of overanalyzing every interaction or trying to fix every strained relationship. But one of the most overlooked and essential skills in reading people is knowing when to disengage. Not every situation warrants your attention, and not everyone deserves your energy. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away, not out of anger or defeat, but out of self-respect and wisdom. The Stoics, who valued inner peace above all else, often emphasized the importance of guarding our mental and emotional well-being. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Consider a relationship where someone's intentions consistently seem harmful or self-serving. They manipulate conversations, drain your emotional energy, or refuse to respect boundaries. While it's natural to want to give people the benefit of the doubt, repeated patterns of negativity often reveal a deeper truth. Some relationships are simply not worth maintaining. Knowing when to step back is not a sign of failure. It's a hallmark of emotional intelligence. Recognizing toxic dynamics and choosing to remove yourself shows a profound level of self-awareness and self-respect. For example, I once worked closely with someone who always seemed to find fault, no matter how hard others tried to collaborate. At first, I spent significant time and energy trying to adapt to their expectations, hoping to improve the dynamic. But over time, I realized their negativity wasn't about me. It was about them. Walking away wasn't giving up. It was reclaiming my peace and energy. The Stoics remind us that our greatest responsibility is to our own mental clarity and serenity. When you allow harmful or draining behavior to persist in your life, you compromise your ability to focus on what truly matters. Epictetus advised, "He who is not a good companion to himself will not be a good companion to others." In other words, maintaining your inner peace isn't just for your benefit. It ensures you have the energy and presence to cultivate healthy, meaningful relationships. Stepping back doesn't mean cutting people off entirely or avoiding conflict at all costs. It means knowing when to prioritize your well-being over the urge to fix someone else. If you find yourself in a situation where stepping back feels necessary, here are a few ways to approach it thoughtfully. 1. Assess the patterns. Ask yourself whether this behavior is consistent or situational. Are they repeatedly disrespectful or draining, or is this a one-time issue? 2. Set boundaries. Communicate your limits clearly and kindly. Let them know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. 3. Focus on your needs. Shift your energy toward nurturing your own peace and growth. Remember, disengaging isn't about them, it's about protecting yourself. 4th, let go of guilt. Choosing to step back can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're someone who values loyalty. Remind yourself that prioritizing your well-being is not selfish, it's essential. By now, we've explored a range of tools for understanding and connecting with others, from the subtle power of silence to the importance of observing patterns and knowing when to disengage. These techniques aren't just about reading people, they're about fostering empathy, building meaningful relationships, and maintaining your inner balance. But remember, these skills are just the foundation. The true magic happens when you combine them with self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and a commitment to personal growth. Every interaction is an opportunity to learn, not just about others, but also about yourself. As you move forward, challenge yourself to look beyond words. Notice the actions, patterns, and subtle cues that often go unnoticed. Approach every relationship with curiosity and compassion, and you'll discover that people reveal far more than they intend, if you're willing to truly listen. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments, which technique are you most excited to try? And remember, the journey of understanding others starts with understanding yourself. Thank you for joining us. Let's keep growing together. 8. Decoding emotional shifts. What their mood reveals. Have you ever noticed someone's mood shift mid-conversation? Perhaps they began the discussion full of energy and enthusiasm, but suddenly became quiet or reserved. These subtle emotional changes often reveal far more about their feelings and thoughts than the words they speak. Understanding these shifts requires two essential skills: sharp observation and genuine curiosity. Emotional cues are often expressed through body language, tone of voice, or even the rhythm of their speech. For instance, if someone's tone becomes softer, their posture closes, or they avoid eye contact, it might signal discomfort, doubt, or hesitation. On the other hand, an increase in energy, a more open posture, or stronger eye contact could indicate excitement, agreement, or even trust. The key to decoding these shifts lies in context. Instead of reacting impulsively, ask yourself, what happened right before this change? Often, the shift is triggered by something specific, a topic, tone, or even a subtle cue in the conversation. By identifying these triggers, you can adjust your approach to meet their emotional state. If they seem uncertain, you might offer reassurance. If they're excited, you can encourage them to share more. Decoding emotional shifts isn't about overanalyzing every movement. It's about being present and attuned to the unspoken dynamics of the interaction. When you notice these subtle changes, you demonstrate not only emotional intelligence, but also a deep sense of empathy, which strengthens your connection. The next time you sense an emotional shift, take a moment to pause and acknowledge it gently. For example, you could say, "You seem thoughtful. What's on your mind?" Or, "You seemed excited a moment ago. What changed?" This small step creates space for honest dialogue, showing that you're attentive and care about their perspective. By paying attention to these shifts and responding thoughtfully, you'll not only navigate conversations more effectively, but also build trust and understanding in your relationships. Emotional shifts are the body's way of communicating what words cannot. Listen closely, and they'll tell you everything you need to know. 9. Trust your instincts, but seek clarity. Intuition is one of the most mysterious and valuable tools we possess. It's that quiet voice or gut feeling that often knows something is off before our minds can articulate it. Shaped by years of subconscious learning and pattern recognition, our intuition can guide us toward insights that pure logic might overlook. However, intuition isn't perfect. It's influenced by personal biases, emotions, and past experiences, which can sometimes cloud our judgment. That's why it's essential to not only trust your gut, but also verify its accuracy through careful observation and reasoning. Think about a time when you had a gut feeling about someone. Maybe you sensed they weren't being completely truthful, or you felt an underlying tension in their words. Often, this feeling comes from your subconscious picking up on subtle cues, body language, tone of voice, or inconsistencies in their behavior. Your intuition acts like an internal radar, scanning for patterns you may not consciously notice. It can be a valuable early warning system, pointing you towards something that deserves further attention. But here's the catch: intuition is fallible. It's not a crystal ball, but a filter influenced by your own fears, expectations, and experiences. Acting solely on instinct without verifying its accuracy can lead to misunderstandings or even unfair judgments. The key to using intuition effectively lies in combining it with rational analysis. When your gut tells you something's off, pause and gather more information. Instead of confronting someone immediately or jumping to conclusions, take a step back and observe. For example, if you feel someone isn't being entirely honest, resist the urge to call them out on the spot. Instead, pay attention to their behavior over time. Are there patterns of inconsistency in their words and actions? Do their responses align with the situation at hand? This balanced approach allows you to separate intuition-driven concerns from hard evidence. As Epictetus wisely noted, first, learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. The Stoics emphasized the importance of reason and self-restraint, encouraging us to verify our assumptions before taking action. I once worked on a team with someone who always seemed overly agreeable during meetings. On the surface, their enthusiasm and support seemed genuine, but something about their tone and body language made me feel uneasy, like they were holding something back. Instead of dismissing the feeling or acting on it impulsively, I chose to observe. Over the next few weeks, I noticed subtle contradictions in their actions. They would agree to team decisions during meetings, but later make comments that suggested dissatisfaction. This pattern confirmed my initial intuition and gave me the clarity to address the issue constructively. Had I confronted them based solely on my gut feeling, the conversation might have gone poorly. By verifying my instincts with consistent observations, I was able to approach the situation with confidence and tact. If you want to harness the power of intuition while avoiding its pitfalls, consider these actionable strategies. 1. Acknowledge your gut feeling. When your intuition signals something, don't ignore it. Recognize it as a potential guide to deeper insights. 2. Pause. Before acting, resist the urge to react immediately. Take a moment to reflect on what might be triggering your instincts. 3. Gather evidence. Observe the person or situation over time. Look for patterns or inconsistencies that either support or contradict your initial feeling. 4th, challenge your biases. Ask yourself if personal fears or past experiences might be influencing your perception. 5. Combine intuition with logic. Use your gut feeling as a starting point, but let reason and observation guide your decisions. The Stoics believed in the power of self-awareness and rational thought. They taught us to approach situations with curiosity and humility, questioning our assumptions and seeking clarity before taking action. When you trust your instincts while verifying them through evidence, you strike a balance between intuition and reason. This approach not only helps you navigate complex interactions, but also deepens your understanding of yourself and others. Intuition is a remarkable gift, but it's most powerful when tempered with observation and reasoning. The next time your gut tells you something, listen carefully, but don't stop there. Take the time to verify your feelings, reflect on your assumptions, and observe the situation with clarity. As you refine this balance, you'll find that your instincts become sharper, your judgments more accurate, and your relationships more meaningful. After all, trusting your gut isn't about being right, it's about being open to learning and understanding. 10. Cultivating self-awareness for better interactions. The art of reading others doesn't begin with them, it begins with you. Your reactions, emotions, and biases often act as invisible filters, coloring how you perceive the actions and intentions of others. Without self-awareness, you risk misinterpreting their behavior, projecting your feelings onto them, or jumping to inaccurate conclusions. Self-awareness is like cleaning the lens through which you view the world. It helps you differentiate between what's happening in reality and the stories your mind might be creating. By recognizing your internal state, you can respond to situations with clarity and accuracy, fostering more meaningful and effective interactions. Think about a moment when you were feeling stressed or overwhelmed. Maybe during that time, a colleague's silence seemed like disinterest, or a friend's delayed reply felt like rejection. In truth, these assumptions were likely influenced by your emotional state rather than their actual behavior. When you're aware of your own emotions, you can separate your internal turmoil from the external reality. For example, instead of assuming someone's quietness signals a lack of engagement, you might consider other possibilities. They could be processing their thoughts, feeling unwell, or simply introverted. Self-awareness empowers you to pause, reflect, and consider multiple perspectives before reacting. This ability is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence and a vital skill for anyone seeking to understand others more deeply. I once had an experience where my own stress nearly derailed an important conversation. A teammate had seemed distant during a project meeting, offering minimal feedback and avoiding eye contact. My initial reaction was frustration. I assumed they were disengaged or uninterested in the work. But before addressing the issue, I took a moment to reflect on my own state of mind. I realized I'd been carrying stress from unrelated deadlines, which was amplifying my sensitivity to others' behavior. When I approached my teammate later with a calmer perspective, they explained they had been distracted by a personal issue, not by a lack of interest in the project. That pause for self-awareness saved me from jumping to conclusions and helped maintain a productive and understanding relationship. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, remind us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts and reactions. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Practicing self-awareness aligns perfectly with this philosophy. It's about recognizing that while you can't control someone else's actions, you can control how you interpret and respond to them. By managing your own mindset, you create space for clearer observations and more thoughtful reactions. If you want to enhance your self-awareness in interactions, here are a few actionable strategies. 1. Pause and reflect. Before responding, before entering a conversation or reacting to someone's behavior, take a moment to assess your own state. Are you feeling stressed, tired, or distracted? If so, acknowledge it and adjust your perspective accordingly. Second question. Your assumptions. When you notice yourself forming judgments about someone, ask, is this based on their behavior or my own emotions? This simple question can help separate fact from projection. 3. Center yourself with mindfulness. Before important interactions, spend a few minutes focusing on your breath or practicing mindfulness. A calm mind leads to clearer perceptions. 4. Seek clarification. When in doubt, if someone's behavior confuses or concerns you, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. Often, a direct question can reveal the truth far better than speculation. When you approach interactions with a clear and grounded mindset, you not only improve your ability to read others, but also create a space for genuine connection. People feel more comfortable and understood when they sense that you're responding to them authentically rather than through the lens of your own assumptions. The next time you're in a conversation, try checking in with yourself first. Are you calm, focused, and present? If not, take a moment to recenter before proceeding. This small habit can lead to profound improvements in how you interpret and engage with others. Ultimately, self-awareness is about taking responsibility for your own reactions. When you master this skill, you'll find that your relationships become richer, your judgments more accurate, and your ability to navigate complex dynamics much stronger. As we wrap up, remember that the art of reading people isn't just about understanding others, it's about understanding yourself. Each observation you make is a mirror reflecting your own thoughts, biases, and areas for growth. By honing these skills, you not only deepen your connections but also refine your self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Apply this wisdom to both how you view others and how you view yourself. Approach interactions with curiosity, empathy, and the tools we've explored today, from silence to self-awareness. If this video resonated with you, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments. Which technique are you most excited to try, or share a moment where understanding someone better made a difference in your life? Thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep observing, learning, and connecting. Until next time, take care and keep growing.